Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Right. And today we're talking about Kamen Rider Zi-O episode 35. Uh, so this time we are going to be diving into Kiva. Uh, who was the writer for Kiva?
For Kiva, it's Inoue.
You'd think that he had a hand in writing this episode because it definitely feels like it to me.
Yeah, so you brought up the whole um who was the writer thing because I'm like, wow, this is weirdly super Fies-esque, and then I'm like, oh right, it's the same guy.
Right.
um, yeah, this episode's really interesting, man. Oh, we'll get to it, but
The
the
the first scene where first off it does the shot of the moon like any good Kiva episode,
oh yeah.
and then you got
Um,
the scene of two characters talking to each other and one of them is weirdly creepy.
Yeah, and then she does like, "Oh, you ate this." I'm like, "All right, are you just like Oja now?" And then
No, I think
Aura
she's
shows
like a
up and to get.
I
No,
legit
no, no,
thought
I
she
know.
was a Fangar.
Yeah, I thought that too for a second. I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." But then I'm like, a Fanga would have just busted out of here. Uh, and then I'm like, "All right, then you're doing the weird like smell thing that Oja did, and then like the way Aura came in and gave her the power. I'm like, that's exactly how Kenzaki Shiro did it, almost." I was like, oh, that's a weird thing because like he also wrote Ryuki, right? So
Did he? I thought
or
someone
parts
else
of
wrote
yeah,
Reiki.
he wrote parts of
Oh, he
Ryuki.
was okay.
Um, and then so yeah, so you've got like a bit of Ryuki and Flies definitely with like and then like a Kiva thing going on. I mean, he also did Agito, but I mean, I didn't really see that much Agito
No,
going on in
Agito had a
this.
different tone than these other shows.
Yeah. Um, but and then she breaks out, and then I'm like, oh no, she's got this whole like weird lawyer detective vision thing going on where it's like she picks up on all the clues and she's basically a Phoenix Wright character at this point. Did you notice how many people are just standing around like pointing? Like even fucking Gates starts doing it later on. I'm
I
like, this is hilarious.
I think I noticed one of them because I do recall thinking about Phoenix Wright when I watched this episode. I think I noticed her do one of the points.
Yeah, I saw like her do at least three, and then like Gates does one. Um, yeah, but we'll get to that. Right, it starts off with her in jail and kind of creepy, and like I'm like, this is giving off like Ryuki and Fies, especially Fies vibes, because I'm like, oh, maybe she's a fun guy, but I'm like, she's acting more like an Orphanoch, right? And I'm
She,
like, okay, that's
mm,
weird because like Orphanoch, when they come back, they get like superhuman senses, but I'm like, a
yeah, but
fun
she
guy would normally have them anyway, so yeah.
she was acting more like a Fangire that was in my mind she was acting more like a Fangire because she was just kind of just examining this guy. She wasn't calling him out or anything. Well, she was calling him out, but she was just kind of the way she was being calm about it. It's kind of more Fangire to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, technically, I guess a storyline like this could happen in Kiva because, like Fangires are like they could be like hundreds of years old. Well, some of the really strong ones.
Like
So it's like it's
like
kind of weird, but like I can
put
still see it happen.
put the Fangire queen in her position just then, and what would the queen do?
Well, the queen wouldn't get caught for one,
No,
but I know
but
what you're
no,
talking.
but
But yeah. When she's like walking around and doing the "I'm the queen of the world" shit, I'm like, this is a lot more intense than how like people in Kiva would act because like Fengar are generally like relatively low key. Like they don't want people knowing that they exist most of the time.
right, it's easier to hunt down humans when the humans don't know they're being hunted.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, yeah, like some of them don't give a fuck. And depending on which mood you find Rook in, this is pretty much the ass kicking you would receive.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, we're like sidetracking. I mean, let's go through it.
Uh,
Um,
so
right.
Yuka
So the jail
is
scene, yeah, jail
Yuka
scene
is the
was
name of this girl
pretty
we've been
freaky,
talking about.
which is so weird because another Fi's name,
Was there
right?
Yuka and
Like,
Fies?
dude, like the female orphanage, the main one.
Oh, yeah, Osada Yuka.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, that's weird. I also love how like it cuts to a flashback like we used to do in
Yeah, they
1986.
do
It
the
just cuts to
fucking Kiva
2000.
transition thing.
Yeah, yeah, that was so cute. I'm like, oh, they remembered. Um,
They remembered what made Kiva worth watching.
well, that's not true. Kivo is fun. Well, like the characters are worth watching. I love how like later on. Well, I mean, we'll get to that.
I
Yeah,
liked
exactly.
to make it clear. I liked Otoya in Kiva, and I
I
liked
mean, I like
his
Otoya.
section.
Just I like the thing is I like all the characters in Kiva, so I'm like, oh, they're all great. But like Otoya is my favorite. Like, yeah, he is the guy who made me like actually him and Wataru's dynamic was so interesting. Like that's why I got into Rider is because I'm like, well, I wasn't really into Rider. I was kind of more into like J drama and stuff at that time. Like, oh, this seems like an interesting show. Which is funny because the first one was Ryuki, and Ryuki's first episode is fucking trash. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm not really into this writer shit.
But then
Right?
you
And then I
watch
saw,
Ryuki more.
no, no, no. No, like the first writer thing I saw was Ryuki. And I'm like, nah, this ain't great. So I left off. And then, like, months later, or maybe years later, I saw, like, Kiva. And I'm like, I mean, it's got that weird Power Rangers thing. But, like, I mean, the dynamic between, like, Otoya and Wataru is interesting. Especially with, like, this father-son legacy thing. So I'll keep watching. And then I like went all the way through Kiva, and then fucking Decade happened, and I wanted to be like, fuck this, this is not Kamen Rider, right? And then like O's showed up. Oh, not O's. Yeah, no, no, no. So I like somehow managed to get through Decade. Was so like, I don't want to fucking look at this garbage right now, so I pretty much skipped Double. Because I'm like, I don't have the energy to sit through another decade right now. Um, I'm like, maybe I'll go back and see some of the older shit, right? And then O's happened, and like everybody was like in my boat of like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, Toei. Like, why are you making it so stupid and kiddie? And then the first episode dropped and like fucking like 80% conversion rate, right? Like 80-90%. Like everybody's like, this show's fucking great. That first episode of O's is so good.
O's is a solid series. It is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only one a friend of mine has seen, and like after he watched it, he tried watching like 4 Wizard and just immediately bailed out of those. He's like, nope, it's not as good as O's.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, like O's was coming out week to week. I saw maybe like a third to half of O's, and then like shit was getting crazy, so I like never finished it. But then like later on when I went back, I'm like, yeah, this is one of the good ones. I saw like Wizard, I think, all the way through. Again, like super not into Forza.
All right,
Um,
we're off topic though.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, so so Yuka is in jail. She was convicted of a crime she didn't commit. Uh, and so here comes Timejacker Aura with a proposal to turn her into another Kiva. And like you get this shot of her walking down the streets as another Kiva with like the monsters around her. It's like, oh, that's great. That's great that she has them.
yeah. I was like, that's one of the coolest things is like what happens in this episode happens in Kiva, but it happens near the end, where it's like you see monsters and weapon forms and Kiva going at it all at once. Like that really happens near the end of the show. But it's really nice when they actually really got all. Well, I was gonna say they got all of them, but I'm like, it looks like they just got like Jiro. But I'm like, it's fine. He
Right.
has the most personality out of the three anyway,
He
so it's
was the one
fine.
that mattered.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like Basha, like the merman, the green one, because for people who haven't seen, so like Jiro's the blue wolfman, Basha is the green merman. Well, not merman, like creature from the
Swamp
Black
Thing.
Lagoon thing. Yeah, Swamp Thing. Well, more like creature from the Black Lagoon because these are
They're horror movie
Universal monsters.
monsters.
Yeah, Universal's classic. And then like the purple one is Frankenstein, and then the mummy is in the Kiva movie. And
Oh.
there's a Yeti, but that's more of a rider form. It's fine. But yeah, Jiro is like the one that has the most personality anyway. Like the other two are interesting. It's just like Frankenstein's thing is he's kind of the stoic one. So it's like, well, he can't really play off that. And then like Basha, the problem with Basha is like he's the oldest, but he looks the youngest. So the problem is like imagine like from like this and now add like 15 years. But he's not supposed to age because they're fucking immortal.
Right.
Right? They're
Like
like
he
immortal
was a
monsters.
kid.
So it just wouldn't work. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean like high schooler, but like yeah. The point is it'd be weird because he's not supposed to age. Um
Uh,
but
what
it was cool to see them. The
Kiva
weirdest thing
was
is like
2008,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 2008.
Yeah. Okay. So that actor was 14 at the time.
Okay, like junior high school, whatever. Really young. But the weird thing is like, oh, and then Gio's like, oh, later on, like, how colorful when they show up. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Have you seen? I'm like, oh, yes, they're so colorful. I'm like, in which reality? Right? This is the Kamen Rider universe. Like, literally, almost all the monsters. Like, unless you're talking about Orphanok, who are just gray.
Yeah, Gray
Lit-
Orphanok.
right? Like, or like the Kuga ones, which are really earth tones. Like
uh,
literally every other series monsters are fucking colorful as all hell.
I think he's just referring to how like there's a variety of them, and each one has like their own dominant color, like a Sentai team.
yeah, yeah, I could see that. Um, yeah, yeah, Kiva's interesting, man.
Uh,
Um, yeah, let's keep going.
so uh, the recap is done by Waz as normal, and he is in a swan boat that is too small for him.
Oh, that's what was going on. I'm like, what? What is going on with this weird shot? Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh,
The weirdest thing is like all the like they're Kiva locations, but I'm like we've seen so much more Rider. I'm like, oh right, this is that weird swamp place, which shows up in like it's in Fives, it's in Kiva, it's in like Amazon season two. And then it cuts to the docks. I'm like, oh shit, this dock from like everything ever. Like literally, it's been like half of the damn shows have this
this
stupid
dog
dock.
was in this dog was in Blade. This dog was in Double.
I
This
was in,
dog was in.
yeah, I was in Ryuki. I mean, well, the Ryuki special. Yeah, it was in Drive. It's in fucking everything.
Uh, um,
I don't think it was in Kiva though. That's the weird thing, but it's fine.
yeah, the only water scene I can remember from Kiva was when Rook was trying to rescue Tadpole from drowning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True, but that was more like that weird forest stream, whatever.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that was like a river. Uh, so at the clock shop, Uncle has decided to bake sweets for the first time. Uh, he
Well,
made
not sweets.
he
He
made an
made
apple
pie
pie.
for the.
He made an apple pie for the first time. And everyone likes it, but Waz is super into it.
Oh, that was so good. I love how they're adding like characteristics from the different shows, and like food is kind of a thing. Like it's a small thing in Kiva, But like this whole like sitting around eating food thing happens a lot in Kiba, kind of. Well, it happens in a lot of like shows, but yeah, was is really doing. Also, like the uncle's like, oh my god, I worked on the crust for 3 days.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
oh, the
Like,
struggle.
what was
And then
his
he's like, I haven't
recipe?
slept at all. I
What
don't
was
know,
his
man. Pie
recipe
crust is
that kept him up all like night?
pie crust is hard, dude. Why do you think fucking like everybody just uses pre-made fucking
I don't
pie
know. I
crust?
don't
Like
bake pies.
pie crust is like the hardest, most annoying part of making a pie.
Hmm.
That's why everybody just uses the fucking pre-made shit.
But this guy
Like
doesn't. This guy
it
doesn't cut
literally takes like
corners.
a day. So go
This guy doesn't cut corners though.
ahead. Whatever, man. Like I don't cook that much, but yeah, I know like the crust is the most annoying thing in a pie.
And Sogo compares eating it to first love, which,
Yeah, that was so dumb, but I'm like, whatever, go with it.
well, that's just the kind of stupid thing Otoya would say, isn't it?
I was kind of thinking not really an Otoya move because Otoya doesn't give a shit about love. He
What do
just
you?
kind of likes talking about. But the thing is, like, literally every single major character has almost like a romance subplot in Kiva. So like, okay, they're gonna bring it up. It's the one show you're gonna do it in, I guess. Right? Like,
Right.
I mean, you can say the head of the foundation and the cafe owner don't, but I'm like, it
That
feels like the cafe owner has a
semantics.
crush. No, no, but the thing is, like, it feels like the cafe owner has a thing for the head of the Blue Sky organization. So, like, technically, literally, all of them have a romance subplot. Um, yeah, and like the weirdest fucking love triangles of all time. I mean, but it's really fucking good, man.
uh, so everyone is
Well, the
oh.
1986 one. The future one is
The 2000,
questionable.
yeah, 2008, and Kiva is two shows that are entwined as one show,
Well, I meant the romance plot in the
right?
future is a little like tacked on, kind of. Some points. Some of it's good. Some of it's questionable. Like the 1986 stuff's really
The
solid though.
1986 stuff was built around the romance. It is literally the driving force.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
Uh, so everyone is surprised that Sogo has ever fallen in love before, and so Sogo recalls the time of the one time he fell in love, where he was in elementary school and he hurt himself, and because he didn't have any friends, he was just crying alone. And this one older girl comes by, gives him a band aid, and plays with him for the day.
I love how like Gates immediately calls out like, "What the hell is that? What is this cat
Right,
backstory?"
right,
And then
like
they keep making
she,
cat puns
right,
going forward.
she
Oh,
like nudges, she's like under his chin like a cat, and when it cuts back, like Uncle is doing that to him to simulate it.
oh man, I love how this is one of those things where it's like you can see this cast is growing closer together. Well, not the cast, the characters. The cast always seem to be pretty chill.
Like,
Um,
I
and
love.
so like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I love that when Sogo like is reminiscing, like and it cuts back to him, he still has like pie on his face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the thing we like in Rider. It's like just add that bit of normal shit
Right,
in your Rider
normalcy.
stuff.
These
Like, it doesn't
characters,
have to be long. It could be like one scene.
yeah, like he can be like in Fies, like the first episode, we get that shot of oh god, Mari, was that her name?
Yeah, Mari.
Yeah, we get that shot of her like just eating ramen.
Right, right. And then like Takumi shows up, and and then you figure out that he doesn't like hard food or hot or spicy. Right, it's great. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair, we've really cut the fuck down on that shit lately. But it's really nice whenever we get it. like probably my most favorite scene in like Wizard is the one where they're all just sitting around and Koyomi's just handing out the rice.
Right, the rice
Because
scene. It's so good.
right, because she doesn't eat, right? So she has to hand it out.
Hey, like every time she serves someone rice, someone else is like, "Hey, more rice, please," and she's just consistently giving them rice until there's none left.
That was so good. I'm like, yeah, this show hasn't gotten there yet, but it's like it's mostly there. So I'm like, it's fair enough. It's pretty sweet. I also like how like like Gates is similar to Ren, but he's a lot nicer, or like a lot more chill and like hanging out with friends. Where it's like Ren, even when he got along with Shinji,
He was
there was
always
still like
antagonistic.
yeah, he was still just getting on Shinji's case like all the time because that's just
Mm,
his personality. Whereas Gates is like, hey, I don't like you because I wanted to fucking murder your ass. But now that's done,
mm,
he just
yeah.
treats him as like some random
I
dude.
won't murder you until you pay me back the 600,000. It's only 200,000.
So you do remember. Oh man. Yeah, I love that freaking. That is such a good motif, to be honest, because he keeps jacking up the price, and it's just
Like,
basically showing like how little he wants to kill this guy now.
right, like every
And
time he
he keeps
raises the
putting it
price, he's
high.
like setting the goal higher so that he has more reason to not kill Shinji.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that's one of the. Anyway, Ryuki's fun. We've gone like 2 minutes into this episode.
Right.
You know,
Uh, but
that
let's
was
cut to the
insane.
main plot. A lawyer comes by, momentarily confuses the clock shop for a diner because everyone is sitting around eating pie.
Yeah, he says like it's whoa. I thought this was a
Oh,
repair shop, not a cafe. And they're like, no, 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 it's fine. Um, I was also amazed that we finally got like one guy who came in with a damn watch. You
right.
know?
Uh, so he wants his watch fixed, and like, oh, he's a lawyer, and Sogo's like, oh, so you're a warrior of justice, and he's like, yeah, but I'm not always successful. I regret that one girl that I couldn't get out of jail. Uh, and then he leaves, and Sogo's like, oh, he forgot his briefcase. I'll go bring it back to him, and runs into like Yuka attacking the lawyer because she was the one girl, and she blames him for not getting her like acquittal.
Yeah. The more interesting part we skipped over is like she gets out of jail and goes like a full makeover. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this like Ryuki and Fai's? Because it just cuts to like the haircut. I'm like, oh, okay, so like, is Mari cutting your hair? Because that would have been one hell of a fucking crossover right there. But like, that didn't happen. Um, and then like, yeah, she gets like the full makeover. I'm like, this just reminds me of that one episode where it's like, Shinji's hanging out with Katawa, and like he's trying to write an article, but Katawa's just like trying to butter him up with all the services to make him write a puff piece. And then, like Shinji at the end is like, nah, man, I'm still gonna write the truth.
Right.
Um, yeah, but that was interesting. Break out of jail, go, get your fucking shit together, and then go take over the world. I mean, like, hey, somebody at least has their priorities straight, unlike Sogo, who's just running around in whatever, right? Um, yeah, and then she shows up and kicks ass. Like, she's probably one of the strongest. Like, it's maybe not straight power wise, but like just competent level is insane. Because like you could see her actually fucking winning, which
Right.
only a hand, like maybe three or four tops
Like,
throughout the show have had that.
right. And let me ask you something about those three or four. Was there a common connection between all of them? Well, like by that I mean,
Yeah, I know, because like they're all just connected to like. Oh, you mean like personality wise, or you
like
mean like they're connected to Soga?
personality wise,
Because
like what this episode made me realize is that the Another Riders that are willing participants make more interesting stories than the people who are forced into it because they're mad at something.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Also, like, one, most of them have the thing of like they're connected to Sogo somehow, or two, yeah, they've been like dealt like some kind of injustice, and they want to take over the world to fucking like to be like fuck you world, you screwed me over. It's my time, right? So they actually have the fire. But yeah, whenever they're more willing, it's actually really interesting. I mean, like even if they don't want to take over the world or whatever, like even like the Blade one was interesting, right? Because it's like she just wanted to see Hajime again, right?
Right. She wasn't
But
an
it,
entirely willing participant, but she took advantage of it.
right, and yeah, like out of all the ones we've had, like I see like she basically won, right? Like there's pretty much nobody stopping her until oh yeah, what's that? An even more OP guy just showed up,
Right.
right?
I
Like
do
she would have fucking won by the end of this episode had that not happened.
like when she's using like the monsters around her, like they turn into their weapons for her to use.
Yeah, that was so cool. That's what I said. Like that only happens really close to the end of Kiva. What?
I'm like reviewing the episode so that I know what to say for the notes, and I'll get to what I'm laughing at in a moment.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Moving on.
so she knocks Sogo out of his henshin, and she does the chin thing to him again and calls him a cute boy like she did when they were younger. So Sogo clearly knows who she is. I'm wondering if she recognizes Sogo though.
See, I'm thinking what happened is she's not even the same person. She just had the same way of same mannerisms, and Soga just fell for it.
Oh, really? That'd be a good twist.
Yeah, yeah, that would be interesting. Because at first they were doing this whole like, oh, trying to impress this older girl thing. I'm like, that kind of reminded me of that Wizard plotline where it's like Wizard and Nito are like, oh, so you've got a crush on this person. And they're like, oh no, no, this is how you talk to girls. Shit. And it's like Asuma was like, it's like, what the hell are you on about? That's not what I'm trying to do, you idiot. Um, you know, the one episode where Kamen Rider Beast actually gets the bike, except it's not a
Right.
motorcycle.
Right.
Hey, we actually have a viewer. That's cool.
Hello. Uh,
Hello. Yes, please let us know your thoughts on this episode if you have any.
so, uh, we get Yuka doing her like power walk when Aura confronts her like, okay, you're out of control. And Yuka is just not having it, like, no, I'm not. I have the power now. I'm the queen of the world. You're my lackey. And they just get into this cat fight.
Yeah, that was unexpected, especially because it seems that she's the queen of the world and the queen of manhole covers apparently because those things weigh like 200 pounds or something insane like that, and she just like flips it up like it's no tomorrow.
She's a Fangire
But
now. Well,
maybe
what I'm
like.
wondering is why Aura didn't fucking dodge.
Oh man.
She can
Um,
literally freeze time.
maybe Piccolo should have taught her a lesson about dodging. Okay, so like if you haven't seen Dragon Ball Super, you would have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
uh,
Um, but
uh,
this is like a really really good running, like it's a really big meme
and
for a while when the Tournament of Power was going on. But
and like the
yeah,
thing
or
that I
didn't
was
dodge.
right.
Maybe like one, they're not as good as using their time powers as we think. Or two, they're just not expecting somebody to fucking like
throw a manhole
just
cover
throw
at
something.
them.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, right? Like, who the fuck expects that? I also love how like um she has basically Schwartz's personality. Not aura. Um, Yuka basically has Schwartz's thing going on, and I also love how like Aura gets attacked and like Ur and Schwartz are just sitting there eating
Yeah,
ice
and
cream.
that's what I was laughing at earlier. The way Schwartz just takes this like creepy like
Yes, yes.
sexual harassment lick out of his ice cream cone.
I
like
know, right? He's such a weirdo.
like he like licks his
Um,
upper lip when he does it.
he's so weird. I love how he clearly knows what the fuck he's doing. He's just kind of adding that weird Dan factor of creepy on purpose, because like there's a picture where it's just all three of them and they're in front of like a pool table or something. And like you see like Schwartz smiling and stuff, and he looks like a total normal dude because like he never smiles in the but like that ice cream lick, I'm like, oh, you fucking weirdo. You know exactly what you're doing. That's great. Also,
They're just sitting there
yeah.
eating ice cream while this is going on. Like, nope, this is hers. This she created this one.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, you fucked up. You
You
deal with this.
no,
I mean,
no
because Aura, I
interference
mean,
clause.
yeah, pretty much. Like, because Aura doesn't make that many another writers anyway, so they're probably like, well, let's see where this. Also, our viewer, Alan said it's a good episode. Also, like, yeah, short, pretty, in that moment. So that's cool. Um,
And like it's very rare for to see when another ride is created to see like anyone other than the time jacker who created them have any involvement. Usually, like whoever creates them is the one that watches over them. The only exception I can think of off the top of my head would be the wizard one.
right, right. There's that one, and then there's the kick, but that's a really
Well,
fucked up
None
one.
of them created Kikai, so that one's like a weird case on
Well,
its
I know,
own.
but like Schwartz and Aura just stick the damn thing back into Aura when they get the chance. I'm like, you fucking assholes. Um, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
So our heroes see the news report of Yuko breaking out of jail, and they're like, "Oh, hey, her lawyer was that lawyer," and so they're up to speed on everything. And Sogo is convinced that she is his first love.
I love how they keep calling him out on how dumb that is, but it's like whatever. We're just running with this. Um,
Also, props to the translators for making the cat puns work as best they could.
oh god, yeah. I was like, why are we making cat puns?
They're
They're
actually
all
making cat
making.
puns.
Yeah. So anyway, what happens next? All right. Yuka
No, no,
finds
no, no, no,
like the process.
no.
Oh, not
Next,
the.
next is our one scene with Jiro.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The,
the cafe. It's the same cafe, right?
maybe it's kind of hard to tell.
Or is it supposed to just be
Probably.
implied to be the same cafe?
Well, he says it's the same place. It has new
Right.
management, and coffee used to be the best in the world. Now it's the shittiest in the world.
In fact,
But it's gonna.
they might have redesigned it as well.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, anyway, Alan's talking about what's up with Ginga. We'll get to that.
Yeah, that comes later.
Just give us a couple minutes. But yeah, Jiro's there, and then he's just talking because he always goes to that cafe. I mean, the whole reason he goes there because he has this gimmick in Kiva of like, if the coffee tastes bad, I'm not gonna pay for it. And the cafe that everybody in Kiva hangs out is the one place that he tastes coffee, and it's so good he actually pays.
I wonder.
So he just hangs out there.
I wonder if he would have liked the coffee that Deno's older sister made.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. See, that's one of the fun things. It's like weird stuff like that, right? Where it's like you just have like weird running gags or from like their own shows, but meeting characters in other shows. It would be so fun. But secondary characters never meet secondary characters from other shows unless it's in like a crossover movie, and then they're only just gonna meet the characters from like the previous show most likely,
Right. A
right?
crossover
Which
like that
sucks.
wouldn't happen, but it's interesting to think about.
I mean, it could like if we were continuing from like the Blade style world thing, you could have people just in the background meeting or going to the same cafe or anything, but it's highly unlikely. Which kind of sucks because like there's so many locations in Ryder. And oh well, we'll see.
Uh, Also, I do like that they're
Um,
continuing his thing about like looking for a mate because he wants to like, vivify
oh, he's
his
still doing.
kind.
Yeah, he's still doing that. Um,
Well, he's hitting
yeah,
on
yeah.
the barmaid the entire time, saying like, "This coffee sucks, but I'm here for you."
Well, he also says that because he feels like the world's gonna fucking end, so it's like I might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, I wonder if he knew
Um,
Ginga was coming.
well, he said that the time door showed him a vision,
Oh, right, that's right, magic door. He did
right?
know.
Because Castle Duran has the weird time door thing.
So,
Um,
do you think that like we're gonna get? So, is he like actually the wolf that's following Yuko around, or is that just a generic monster?
no, I think it's him
You think it's him?
because like he probably is because what's happening is he's probably getting summoned. Like, okay, does Yuka in monster form does she have the whistles whistle thing, like that
She
sound?
does not seem to, but she's some because as soon as she becomes a Nether Kiva, they're already summoned with her.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, maybe it's the thing of like, well, technically Kiva can use this, um, and so if you become another Kiva, you get all of Kiva's powers, which is nonsense because that's not how Kiva works. Um, because like again, in Kiva, you have to make a contract with them. I mean, like Ixa can hijack it,
They
but like they won't show up for Ixa if he puts it in.
they
It's like
weren't
Kiva does it, and Ixa puts his one in, and so like they get misdirected to
they,
Ixa.
they weren't helping him because he was Kiva. They were helping him because they made a promise to his father.
Right, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like yeah, the monsters are a cool thing from Kiva, so they wanted to bring it in. I guess they just didn't think of a good enough reason, so they just started using them as like normal power ups because like they are the form changes in Kiva and the weapons and stuff. But the thing is, like Kiva's form changes are again very different because like they promised to help Kiva because they promised Kiva's dad, right?
Right.
Um, it's just one of those things where it's like it's normal if you don't know Kiva, but if you know Kiva, it's like it kind of falls apart. But yeah, I'm feeling like he is the guy because like he's probably just hanging around because new Kiva just broke out, so he has to spend time in the normal world instead of being inside Castle Duran. Maybe, or maybe it's gonna get explained next episode. I'm thinking it's the same dude. Uh,
We'll have to see. But
also,
if it's not him, then I'm totally down for seeing him fight himself.
oh yeah, man, that would be so cool. Also the weird thing is like I forgot that Jiro suit has purple in it because like again the show's in HD now, so like it's blue and then like his undersuit is purple. You could really see it now. You couldn't really see it before. Um, Kiva and stuff. Especially also like CGI has gotten so good that they can do the thing from like later Kiva stuff where it's like, oh, suit form and sword form, and then and then another suit and form and stuff like that, and switching in one fight, which is really cool. But it happens like maybe once or twice at the end of Kiva, so that's cool. But most important question, Alan's like, I'm more of an iced coffee guy. So, right, which coffee do you like?
I don't really drink coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee either. That's why I'm throwing it to you. So I guess literally all three people active in this thing about a coffee addicted werewolf don't drink coffee.
I mean, I've drank coffee before. I've had French vanilla before, and it's like it's not bad. I can drink it, but I don't actively crave it at any time.
Yeah, like honestly, French vanilla or like French vanilla or hot chocolate coffee, maybe.
I'd
But
rather just have
realistically, like,
hot chocolate.
yeah, exactly. I fucking hate coffee, to be honest. Like tea I can do, but like generic normal tea, like over flavored tea, you have to do really well, otherwise it tastes so overblown. Um, yeah, like it's really important. You don't realize how important it is. Like the water temperature is super important for tea. Like normal tea, who cares? Just boil it, it'll be fine. Like just a generic store bought one. But if you have like one of those like specialty ones where it's like you could literally see the leaves and all the flavoring mixed and stuff. Yeah, it says this temperature. You put the damn tea at that temperature. Because if you boil the water way more than that, it's gonna taste so bad. Um. Anyway, random aside about
Yeah.
coffee and tea.
Uh, so
Yeah.
Yuko finds the public prosecutor that was on trial against her because she's just going around as the new queen placing judgment on people. Sogo and Gaze confront her, and Sogo asks, "Hey, why do you want to be queen?" She says she wants to fix the law system. So Sogo tries being impressed, but then Gaze calls her on and is like, "Sogo, open your fucking eyes. All she's doing is getting petty revenge."
Hey man, I mean at least it's a motivation. You know what's the weirdest thing is like I feel like this actor, have they been in any lawyership? Were they in the Phoenix Wright movie? I don't know. Because
Uh,
this seems like they're trying so hard to do the Phoenix Wright shit, right?
which actor?
Because she has, huh?
Which actor?
The person who's playing Yuka. Like I feel like they might have done some lawyer type show before, and that's why they got cast, or whatever. Or maybe they're just really trying to go for this Phoenix Wright thing. Which, to be fair, in the Kamen Rider world, I'm totally fine with. Because, like, everybody's a weirdo with superpowers for most parts when it comes to profession in Rider, so I'm fine with that.
Uh, let's see here. This is First Love Wake Up. Oh, by the way, I like the title First Love Wake Up because Wake Up was the name of Kiva's rider kick.
Yeah, Wake Up Fever. Um, Alan's asking, should I watch Kiva? Yes,
Yes.
that is the only answer. Um, Here's the thing about Kiva. Um, it's very character drama heavy. So if you're there for like, hey, move the plot along, it's there, but it's not like it's not a show where like you're there for the plot. Like you're not there for like, oh, I want to see Kiva take out the checkmate four. Like that is not the show. The show is these are the characters, see them interact with the world, and just watch them hang out. And it's really good. So it's more on the drama side, but Kiva is really good. You might get annoyed that Kiva's power up form gets used a lot, but just take note that the reason why that happened is the original Kiva suit is like the heaviest rider suit ever, like by weight.
Yeah, so Kiva is the biggest final form spammer of all the riders because,
But it makes sense too.
well,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it
go
makes
ahead.
sense because, but because it's described as its
Spoilers,
true
that's why.
form. Uh,
Uh, I
whatever.
literally just said
Whatever.
but whatever.
But
Um,
the reason is that like his suit, his normal base suit, literally has chains hanging off of one of the legs.
yeah. Um, and then armor pieces and stuff, but yeah, the damn chains probably outweighed it. And then especially with like Kiva's weird, more like grappler style fighting style, it's more like movement based instead of like heavy CGI stuff. Yeah, it was like a hard ass suit to work with. Like it's really nice, but it was kind of unwieldy. That's why they had to switch it up. Also, they're saying kind of like double, assuming that for the plot line. No, um, Double actually has like storylines case to case, whereas Kiva is a little more drama than Double. Like, yeah, it's got the character thing like Double, where it's like, oh, you're really here just to see how these characters interact and their personal storylines. Like, imagine if everybody was Teruи, and that's Kiva. Like, everybody's plotline is very personal. Um, like the monster of the week is kind of there, but like it really affects them and like philosophy and stuff like that. Like
Like,
airport, like like Kiva's secondary. Ixa, like depending on who's using Ixa,
okay.
like their personality comes through.
So to put the use the terror example, so Kiva has like the 2008 segment, which is the present, and then the 1986 segment, which is about Kiva's dad. And during that segment, you have Kiva's dad, Otoya, who is basically, in this analogy, like a Terui, and then you have another Terui, and both of them are trying to date the same woman, and so they're fighting each other.
Yeah, well, what I meant was more like how Terui's plotline is very like his backstory is like, oh, I have this family tragedy. I'm trying to resolve it. I'm gonna fight the monsters, but I'm still like my plot line is my backstory, right? Like it's very personal for the most part. Like yeah, he's there to find the monster of the week, but like shit is very personal to him. And like basically most of the characters in Kiva are like that. Like yeah, they do fight like early on. They're just fighting the monster of the week kind of thing. But like every person who fights has like a very distinct like personality. They have a very distinct like worldview. Um, like whenever like anybody is fighting, it's like very much like, hey, I don't like you, so I'm gonna stop you because that's the right thing to do. Or hey, I'm just having fun, get out of my way, freaking humans. Or hey, oh, I find you interesting, so I'm just gonna mess with you for a little bit. Or hey, I finally have power, I'm gonna fucking take control of my life now, I don't give a shit. And like it's very drama heavy, which it's really good. But like if you're more from the side of like it's not Gaim, right? Like that's what I'm trying to say. It's like it's not where it's like or build where it's not like arc to arc. The story is like, oh shit, how are we gonna beat this guy in this arc? Like yeah, they are villains that show up. It's like, oh, that guy's really strong. How are we gonna fucking stop that guy?
Right.
Um, right? Like Rook definitely. Um, and then like Bishop, like the Checkmate
Right.
Four, right? But like they show up very rarely. I mean, Rook is there for most of it, but like the Checkmate Four, whenever they show up, yeah, they wreck house, but they're not like the general like monster of the week, like evil organization trying to take over the world thing that most shows have. Like basically, Kiva is like a vampire drama. Like it's literally a vampire. So it's like the vampires aren't trying to take over the world. They already took over the world, right? They're just trying to keep their way of life going. And if humans happen to find out, or if they're feeding on one and something happens, they come and like certain higher up vampire dudes show up to deal,
If
and
humans
like
were
you
to
have
invent something that would make humans better, in
yeah,
general, then that needs to go away.
right, like they like to keep their power balance, and then like the humans have like vampire hunters and stuff like that and things like that. So it's like imagine like a western like vampire show and now put Kamen Rider into it. That's basically Kiva. And then add the they're the second generation vampire hunters. So they all have kind of like a legacy thing going on. So it's a very interesting show, but it's very different than normal Rider.
Uh, so we get the fight against Yuko. Even Aura gets in on it because she wants to revoke the Rider Watch. And then the fight is interrupted when a meteorite crashes nearby. And everyone goes to investigate it, even the Time Jackers. And inside is Kamen Rider Ginga, a rider from space. He is a villain rider, but he is the first Kamen Rider introduced in the Reiwa era.
What happened to oh, I guess
Brain is
is
the
technically
last
the last
rider of the Showa era. Or no, Showa, Heisei. Got that confused.
they say.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Brain is the last rider introduced in the Heisei era.
Sure. Oh my
Jesus
god,
Christ.
I'm fucking it up.
I'm sorry, it's all my fault.
No, it's fine. Um,
Uh,
yeah, did you hear about that announcement of they trademarked the name for the
yeah,
next
uh,
writer?
it's a little on the
And it's
nose.
yeah. It's Ray. Well, what does that mean? Oh, yeah. What's
Yeah,
the next writer? It's 01.
so,
Why? Because Ray means zero. Wa means one. So 01.
also,
I'm
Zero
so
One. It's the first rider in the Reiwa era.
yeah. I know it's so on the nose, but
It's
I'm like,
like,
fuck it. You know what?
I'm
You know
down for
what?
it. I'm down for this.
I'm down for old school Showa style. Like, fuck it. We're just gonna put it right in the name. Deal with it.
Uh,
Um, Skyrider 2.
Skyrider
That's the second.
2! Oh. Oh.
uh,
Oh. Warn me before you
fuck,
do that.
I'd be down for that. Oh, so we're just gonna run with names. What's the third one? Third one is Shinobi finally get the series.
Oh, I hope that's real. Oh, that 2022, like they could totally fucking do it. They just made a contract with the actors now while they were filming Zi-O.
Did they? That'd be so good. I mean,
I don't know,
if they
but
tried.
if they wanted to, they had the opportunity. It would have been easy.
You know what? I'd be fine if they just keep releasing more specials.
That could also work.
You know how like Garo does miniseries and stuff. Like either do like a miniseries like Garo or Amazon does, or keep releasing like sets of three, like an OVA style. I'd be fine with that. I mean, considering this fucking Bandai and we're talking about, like, isn't this what we do with Gundam all the fucking time? So I'd be down with it. Or if they're just gonna make it for the app, I'd be fine with Shinobi just being a writer for the app. That'd be cool.
Uh,
Um, yeah. What the
so
hell were we talking?
Kamen Rider Ginga, evil rider from space. Uh, and
Yeah. So
you,
last time we were talking about, oh, it's like who could it be? And we're like magic, and then we totally forgot that the space riders exist. I mean, to be fair, there's only two of them. Well, now there's three, right? There's only Super One and Meteor, all four now, right? Like
right.
Ginga's the fourth one. Space.
Uh,
Um,
and Yuko, as another Kiva comes in, is like, I am the law of this world, and you're being insolent, and Ginga's just like, I'm from
Fuck
space.
off.
Your world's laws don't apply to me.
I know, that was so good too. That was such an awesome standoff.
Right?
Where it's like I'm the king of this world. I'm like I don't give a shit about
So,
this stinking
I'm
planet.
not
Piss off,
part of your world.
right? Like, oh, you know what'd be funnier? Evolve just drops by. It's like, what's going on? And they just both blast him right then and there. Like, fuck off.
Can you guess
Oh
what I've
man.
been doing?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, considering we're doing the build thing tomorrow, that's gonna be
right.
interesting. Should I still
Uh,
have to watch? Um,
it's worth it. For the most part, there's one character that kind of ruins it for me, but otherwise, it's a good movie.
yeah.
So we get the Trinity
Wait, before
Henshin.
that,
Oh,
no, before that, like when she shows up, and then you see the meteor, and like Schwartz and everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Right? Like Schwartz notices, and Koyomi, wow, Tsukiyomi notices, and then they like all rush over there, like there's some kind of fucking Sentai squad because all the time jackers and like everybody just shows up in a line. I'm like, did this just turn into a Sentai thing?
no,
Um,
it's just that rare moment of something happened and no one knows what that something is, so they all have to like rush in and check it out. Like, hold on. This is
yeah,
this.
I know this was crazy. I also love like when they're standing. I'm like, yeah, this is basically a Sentai artist. At first, when the meteor came down and it crashed, and then it's like this blue glowing thing, and they're like, it's alive. I'm like, oh my god, did we just because we had to do that Kabuto crossover? Did we just fucking put a Kabuto crossover into our Kiva crossover? That would have been so fucking
Oh,
insane.
like this is
Holy
already
shit.
not how this is supposed to go down, and
Yeah. Right? Like, hey, this is the Kiva episode. What the fuck is this?
well,
Like, at
who
first they're
is
like, it's alive. I'm
this?
like,
Who is
right. Like, could you imagine, like, fucking dealing with, like, worms and all that shit with the Time Jackers and this Kiva shit going on? Like, insanity. That would have been amazing. Because I'm like, oh shit, it's another meteor. Like, they had the perfect gimmick. It's like, where is this? Oh, it's either another meteor from wherever the fuck the worms came from, or it's another piece and it just hit it. Or maybe this is the original meteor, which was supposed to hit the planet, but the one that hit Kabuto is the one from Godspeed Love that got sent back in time,
wait?
right? Like, remember in Kabuto, in Godspeed
Okay,
Love, like
so
the
yeah,
meteor shows up in the future. Kabuto Rider kicks it in his like ultimate clock up
right.
form, and the rider kicks so hard it goes back in time,
Right, he
right? So
travels
like
it back in
maybe
time to crash into the original meteor so that that meteor is smaller when it crashes and the damage is not as big.
right, and what I'm saying is like maybe in this weird
New timeline.
like new timeline shit, either that fragment that didn't crash crashed back into the earth now, or this is the original, like this was another part of the original meteor. Like you could have made this into a Kabuto. Um, yeah, yeah, like this you could have literally written in a Kabuto crossover. I'm like, holy shit, are we doing another Phase Forze thing? Like I did not expect that, but man, that would have fit in so perfectly too. Like it's so weird. It would have fucking fit in so perfect. Anyway, back to Ginga though.
So
Yeah, Alan's like Ginga just bodies everyone. It's like
right,
yeah, he pretty
they
much does.
henching
He's
into
so OP.
Trinity, but Ginga's really just like, fuck off, I win.
Yeah, pretty much right. I also love how like they all like Gates and Waz are pretty much like what the fuck are you doing, man? Like you didn't even ask us,
We haven't
and
even
they all
henching into our normal forms yet.
yeah, it's like again, and then they start fighting, and they're like, um,
Gangster's like, let's
Gates
use
is like,
it.
yeah, do the thing, and it's
They're
like,
like, what
what
thing?
thing?
It's like the thing. It's like, what are you talking about? And then Gaze just runs up and tries hitting him with an axe.
Yeah, and then Sogo tries hitting him with the sword, and then like Waz starts hitting him with the spear.
And none of it
None of it
works.
works.
And then they
Yeah,
just get bodied every time.
right. Like he is so
That,
overpowered.
that didn't
That's
work at
why we.
all. You didn't either.
I know. I also love how like man, whoever the suit actor is really good because he notices like, oh right, like the left side should be Waz, so he's still doing signals and stuff whenever they're first tension and stuff. So that's really well done. Um, but yeah, man, Ginga is fucking OP as shit. Like if he was a Magic Rider, it would kind of make sense, but like
Well,
I don't know, man.
part of his suit is
He's
retooled from Mage.
yeah. I mean, he does look like a mishmash, like a really. I mean, they
Uh,
all the feature riders are mishmash, but this one especially looks like it. But
uh,
dude is
I can.
fucking overpowered as hell. I mean, to be fair, I guess maybe he's fucking fighting like Hibiki style, like
Right.
giant monsters. So
So
maybe he's maybe another Kamen Rider pretending to be Ultraman.
his
You know,
helmet is
like
retooled from Kamen Rider Mage, and then the body
okay,
is retooled from Meteor, but also like the Forze Meteor fusion states.
interesting, interesting. Yeah. At first, I thought the helmet was like Forze, but I'm like,
No, the
no,
helmet
it's a
is
little off.
Mage.
Yeah. Um, it's really interesting, especially because like evil writer. I mean, like maybe he just wants to fucking do his own thing, or is he actually just a future Shadow Moon thing? Like, was he always evil, or was he a good guy and he's just like fuck it to save the future? I'm just gonna take out all of you assholes right here now.
What if he's Phoenix?
Like, right? Oh man, he's Phoenix come back. That's why he's in space. He has to fight the ultimate villain. Phoenix revived.
Uh, finally broke out
Holy
of the
shit!
sun.
Finally broke out of the sun. Man, that goddamn beast 10 years later would have been perfect. Like, hey, everybody got their damn like season closure. Like that wizard special should have had Phoenix come back, and then that would have perfectly explained why Beast came back.
More of
Because
the
he would have been the one guy. He would have been the one guy who could absorb it.
early arc rider uh, tributes should have been more like epilogues, like these are.
Yeah. That would have been fun. Well, I mean, technically, we don't know if the Kiva one's gonna be an epilogue because unlike
Oh no,
if
the
none of
Kiva
the
one is not an epilogue like the others have been, but my point is that like they should have been more done like this kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I really want a second part with some Kiva shit, but it feels like they don't know what to do, so they're just adding the Ginga one, and that's gonna be the second episode. Because I'm like, I don't think any of the Kiva riders are gonna show up. Like, I don't think Ixa's gonna show up. I don't think any is gonna show up. Like, fuck, we haven't even seen a fungi, right, in a Kiva tribute. Like, how ridiculous is that?
I'm still holding out that she actually is a Fangire. That sense of smell is suspicious.
Yeah, but she also notices,
Yeah, she's also
like
Sherlock
the
Holmes.
prosecutor. Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe she's just super good at noticing details. Because at first I'm like, oh, you're just doing the Asakura super sense of smell thing, but she's not, because she notices all the other stuff too. Um, yeah, I mean, especially considering she just left, it's gonna be interesting next episode, right? Because like, it'd be cool, like it'd be a really good tribute to Kiva if she teams up with them and beats Ginga, because like basically everybody who started out as like a villain kind of ends up on the good guy side by the end in Kiva, so that's cool.
Did you watch the next episode
Unlikely,
preview?
but it'd be maybe.
All right. Well, I won't
I
say
saw
anything.
like parts of it. All I remember is like Ginga is like the main focus next episode.
Uh, but we gotta wrap this up now.
Yeah.
uh,
Um.
Final thoughts on the episode.
Yeah.
This
Really?
was what?
Yeah. Go ahead. Do
Uh,
yours, and I'll do mine.
Final thoughts. This was a solid episode. There are definitely moments where I felt like I was watching an episode of Kiva early on. And the comedy was just spot on at times. Like the cat puns, the just the normalcy of like, or and Schwartz eating ice cream. Like this is a good standard for an episode.
Right? That's what I was thinking. It's like it's so solid. Like our cast is having fun, being normal, and then well, they kind of got their ass kicked for the writer stuff, but I'm like, technically, it's all just build up for the next episode anyway. Um, but like the villain it has like a really interesting backstory. All right, see you, Alan. Got you next time. Thanks
Uh,
for joining us, man.
the,
Um, yeah. So what happened is yeah, like the villain was really solid, really well acted. Everybody seemed to be having fun, and then fucking Ginga showed up to throw down. And like an already really good episode went up a notch even more because like that was fucking badass. So like I hope the next part delivers because this episode was really fucking solid. Like the Hibiki wasn't two-parter wasn't terrible, but like it was not this damn good, right?
right.
Um, yeah, I really hope they stick the landing next episode because this one was so well done.
Alright. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We're planning on being back tomorrow for the Brave New World movie podcast. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. And yeah, if you feel like it, and if you have some time, drop by. We do this live every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You know, if you have some thoughts, even if you don't catch it live, put it in the comments. You know, we'll respond, or we'll see it and respond next podcast, whatever. Yeah, it's always fun to talk to you people. This is a good episode. Zi-O is really solid right now. We'll catch you next time.